Hello everyone. So today we are going to be fabricating a stump bucket. I got some metal here. This is 5/16 thick steel. Hopefully that'll be enough. But I was looking online at stump buckets and they're fairly simple designs. Something that's basically just a bucket welded together, and I didn't want to pay what they were asking for. I'm like, some of them were over $1,000 for just pieces of metal welded together. And the cheapest one I could find was $500, which I almost just bought, but I also figured I didn't really like the design very much and I could still make my own for cheaper than that. So I ended up just buying this metal, which metal prices have gone up a lot lately. So just keep that in mind. I actually had to pay $200 for this one piece of metal, which is pretty insane, but it's 30 inches by 40 inches and 5/16 like I said. But yeah, metal prices have gone up crazy amounts. I actually have a bunch of scrap metal that I really need to take to the scrap yard because scrap prices are really high as well. So anyway, we're gonna get this marked out. What I wanna do is I wanna make a stump bucket that has teeth and stuff on it to be able to cut roots, but I also wanna make it a little narrower. A lot of the stump buckets I found were pretty wide, and I don't really want that because I also wanna be able to use this bucket to dig trenches and stuff too. So we're gonna mark it out. I drew up some designs on the computer, but I'm gonna mark them out on here and see how they look, and then we'll get to cutting, which isn't going to be fun because it's pretty thick metal and it's going to take a while, but oh well. So let's get to it. I drew up my first line here so you can see it, just basically cutting out two wedges like that. So I'll cut this first one and then I'll put a straight line here and cut the second one, and then I'll have to cut teeth into this, but I'll do that after. And then with the piece that's left, I'm going to be cutting out the bottom part of it. And then I also have a quick attach, like a skid steer quick attach that I ordered that I'll weld all this to, but it's not here yet. So we have to wait for that to come, but I figured we can at least get this and you guys won't know the difference because it'll all be done in this video. So let's get to cutting. So these cutting discs I have are junk. These aren't the usual ones that I get, but I go right through them. Like they don't even hold up at all. And the one that's actually on there right now is like delaminating. You can see like the top part of it's coming off, or I guess it's the bottom. Yeah, the whole bottom part of it wasn't even stuck on there. So I don't know how that was ever supposed to work, but they're just like being eaten right through. I'm not even hardly doing anything with them. So I know the best way to do this was with a torch, but I don't have that. Unfortunately, I could really use it. There's been so many times when I could have used a torch, but they're so expensive to get all the equipment and the tanks and all that stuff. I have this welder, but I can't obviously cut with that. Plasma cutter would be really nice, but I don't know if they're much more expensive than like an oxyacetylene torch is, but I don't know. But I need to get more blades. I only have two more, and or two or three more, but they're both the same junk kind that I already have, so, or that I was using. But yeah, these are garbage, made in India. I mean, that probably doesn't help much, but Yeah, I just got these because I was there and they were on sale, but obviously they're junk, so I'm never gonna get those again. The kind I normally get are, well, they're this brand, KT Industries. I've had very good luck with these ones, and they're super thin. So yeah, they're a really good brand, and I've always liked a lot of their stuff, even like their welding stuff too. I've used a lot of that, and like I think I use their welding wire as well, and it's always been way better than anything else. So highly recommend them. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and get some more welding, or wait and get some more cutting wheels. So we'll be back. All right, so the last I was on here, I believe I was going to get some cutoff wheels for my grinder, and little turn of events, I ended up buying a plasma cutter. So I was looking around at what was cheap options for like a torch or whatever, and I found a lot of YouTube videos on people buying these cheap plasma cutters on Amazon and having pretty good luck with them. So I ended up buying one. So that's it. I think it should work pretty good. It can either be 120 volt or 240 volt. So I thought that'd be kind of nice. And then we have all this stuff here as well. So we really need to get all this put together. Got grounding rod, the torch, bunch of fittings, plug for 240. There's something in here as well. Oh, air water separator. And it also has a regulator in there as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, it'll probably work fine. I think there's some extra tips and stuff in here too. Some air hose fittings, so I'm gonna get this set up and then we'll try it out. All right, so I have everything all hooked up now. They gave me a ton of this hose extra, so I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping I have this right. Got the regulator and water air separator on there. Got the pressure maxed out for the 120 volt is all I'm using right now. For the thickness of this metal, I don't think I'll need more than that, so I'm just gonna go with that. I haven't turned it on yet, so we can try turning that on with the switch back here. And there we go, something happened. So it's on 10. I'm not quite sure what the 10 is. Volts, I assume. So if we turn this, that tells us how many volts we're using. So max, it's like 35 volts is maxed. Post time, I have no idea what that is. So I might have to look at the manual a little bit. So apparently the post time is how long the air runs after you stop, I guess. I don't really know why that matters. So we're just gonna set it halfway at 8 and see how that works. So let's turn it back on here. We're just gonna have that all the way up and see how this goes. All right, this is my first time ever using a plasma cutter, so let's see if I can set something on fire. Okay. It cuts really easily. Kind of scared me for a sec. Alright. instead of going all the way through, I need to go slower. I think I tripped that breaker. Oh, that's destroying my concrete too. Okay, good to know. Alright, so to take from this, we learned quite a bit. For one, I cannot be that close to the concrete, it will destroy it. Two, that's not voltage, that's amperage, so 35 amps. That's a 20 amp breaker on that circuit, so that's why that didn't work. So I think I have a bigger outlet over there, so I'm just gonna plug into that. Then I won't have to worry about that. I need to get this higher off of the ground here, I think, so I don't destroy the concrete like I just did. And yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so we got both of the triangle pieces cut out, and now I need to cut out the bottom. So I have these two lines going right here, you can see, just angling up on both sides. So we're going to cut the bottom out, and then for the back that actually hooks up to the tractor, I have a skid steer quick attach plate that I'm going to weld these to, but that isn't here yet. So just going to get this cut up, and then I need to cut teeth into the sides of these, like right along here, so it can actually like cut the roots. That works. Well, I'll tell you what, this plasma cutter works really good. For I think it was $260 or $270 for that thing, and it works great. I have a bunch of scrap metal that I want to cut up to be able to take it to the scrap yard, and I figured that's kind of why I just bought it, because for the amount of scrap value I can get out of that metal, it'll probably pay for this anyway. So, and with this, you don't have to buy gas or anything. It just takes electricity and air, so it's nice. I'm not ever gonna really run out. Like, I don't have to buy more cutoff wheels and all this stuff all the time, or if I'm in the middle of the project and I run out of cutoff wheels, it's just annoying. So this will work out great. The cuts are not quite as perfect as a cutoff wheel, so I'm probably still going to need to use that sometimes, but I mean, you can see here it cuts pretty good. It would help if I see in a lot of videos, like somebody will clamp on like a piece of angle iron and they'll go right with that, and that would make this edge way cleaner, but honestly, for what this is gonna be, it doesn't matter. So yeah, this is really cool. Works really well. So I think what I want to do now is put one of these back up here, and I just want to cut teeth into this. Just probably not all the way down to the bottom, but like start here and then do like maybe a foot or a foot and a half of teeth on here, so it'll cut roots easier. I cut this out, piece of cardboard, so now I can just lay this where I want it and then just trace it out. So I don't want it too far down here, because then it'll make this a little weaker. So maybe something like right there. I don't know, I think that'll be enough. I don't want to go too far down here because it's just going to make this weaker. So maybe I'll add one more up here. There. Make these dark enough so I can actually see them. Alright, so let's cut that out. That worked amazing. They're so perfect. That's awesome. So now I just gotta copy that to the other one. All right, we got this one cut out. Not quite as clean as the other ones, and one of them got a little long, but still will function perfectly fine. So that's really all I can do right now. I need to wait until I get the skid loader or skid steer quick attach plate. That should be here, well, it'll be here right now for you guys. All right, so my skid steer plate finally came in. It is 3/8 thick all the way through, solid plate. So it should be the same thickness as these, I think are 3/8 or 5/16. Actually, I think these are 5/16, so it should be thicker. But anyway, so it's a little rusty, which is fine, but yeah, whatever, it'll work. Should be plenty strong for what I'm gonna be doing with it, hopefully. So now we need to get all lined up so we can weld this stuff onto it. Something like that. It's off the bottom. Doesn't need to be all the way on the bottom. And then these should be short enough to not go all the way to the top. So yeah, I think that will work out perfect. All right, I got this marked out where it needs to go. So now I need to grind all of the finish off of that surface so it's a nice welding surface. And also along this edge here, which I'm probably just gonna do all of these edges on all the pieces because they're all gonna need to be cleaned off. All right, I got everything all grinded clean to where I'm gonna weld. This is actually probably the thickest metal I've welded with this welder so far. So I cranked it up. I'm actually right in between the 3/8 and the 1/4 setting on the thickness. And it auto adjusts everything for you, which works perfect. I really like this welder. And you just set your wire thickness or your wire diameter or whatever you want to call it, and then your metal thickness, and it adjusts everything for you. If it's not working quite perfect, you can adjust the thickness of metal, but really I've never had a problem with it. So highly recommend one of these, especially for beginners. It's Millermatic 211, not sponsored, but would be willing to be sponsored. Very good welder. I bought that a while ago when I started working on my Falcon project. It's been a lifesaver. Before that, I was using one of those really cheap 110 volt wire feed flux core welders. It worked and I was thankful for it, but it was so hard to weld with. And as soon as I got this, it was just a night and day difference. It was amazing. So highly recommend. They're expensive, but well worth the money. And then, all right, so now we are going to weld this up and let's see how this welder does with this thicker metal. So we're just gonna tack it for now until we get everything put together, and then we'll weld it 100% then. Perfect as usual. Actually, I'm gonna put one more in the middle just to be safe. Amazing. All right, now that I have that tacked on there, I need to get the side pieces on here. And since they're at an angle, I don't want them perfectly vertical. So I'm going to need to trim the bottom off to make them flat along here. So if you look at it here, get it where I want, you can see. So I want it to be more at an angle like this. I don't want it to be perfectly vertical. And you can see that there's a gap on the top then. So we're gonna need to grind a little off the bottom to make that flush all the way. All right, I now have everything on both sides ground nice and clean where everything's gonna go. I have these ground down along the edges on both sides. So now I think I'm ready to put them on here, tack them on, and then weld everything up, and then we'll be ready for paint. I'm also gonna fix this little mistake I made with the plasma cutter as well. I'm gonna fill that with weld while I'm welding it up. Very close. I think this side's angled a little more, but I don't think that's gonna be a big issue. That actually looks perfect now, so we will just leave it right there. So you can see those angles are pretty similar right there, but I think that looks good. So now all I need to do is solid weld up all of these joints on both sides and cross right here as well. And it should be done. I was thinking maybe I might add some teeth on the end here. I know you can get some weld-on like bucket teeth, and if you put 3 across there, that might actually be really good. I'd probably want to reinforce it a little bit if I'm going to do that, but we'll see how this goes. I don't know as though I'll need teeth on there. It's a pretty narrow opening anyway, so I have a feeling that's just going to dig in pretty good, but we'll have to see. I could always just like cut some teeth in here as well, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to try it like this and see how it works. I can always modify it down the road if I need to, but I really like how it's coming out. Looks just like any other bucket or stump bucket that I've seen. So let's get this all welded up and get it painted. Okay, so I have gotten everything welded. It's flipped over obviously right now, but you can see my welds. They're not perfect, but they will definitely do. Got all of the sides welded here and there. Every seam is welded all the way fully. So now I want to paint it, and I was gonna start by painting this inside portion of where the tractor hooks up, and then I'm gonna stand it up on this cardboard here and then paint the rest of it. And I'm just going to be using what I have, just some paint on gloss black enamel oil-based paint. I should have enough between these two here, so that's what we're gonna use. Most of it's gonna be scraped off anyway, so I'm mostly concerned about the quick attach plate, and the bucket, most of it will come off, but we'll get as much on there as we can. But we're gonna start here, and then if we run out, it's not gonna be a big deal over there. All right, it is all done. It's looking all shiny. I put it on there pretty thick. You can kind of see some runs and stuff, but it's not meant to be beautiful. It's meant to be functional. So I'm really excited to get to use this, and hopefully we will soon. I have to wait for my new tractor to come. Hopefully it'll be here in maybe a month or less. We'll have to see. But if you enjoyed this project and you want to see how it works, consider subscribing and clicking the little notification bell. It'll give you a notification when I put up another video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.